time to get messy. Wow! So hot. I'm in the zone, baby. Got it. Wow! So hot. I'm in the zone, baby. Got it. Wow! So hot. I'm in the zone, baby. Got it.
Hello, welcome to GH Radio. This is episode 672. So glad to have you in your ear, have us in your ears again. And we got the full crew. You're in for a treat. This is gonna be a fun episode. I'm looking forward to it. My name is Chris, aka Lefty Brown, and joining me on the call is the man who has a grin from ear to ear because his Atlanta Braves is a 2021 world champions. Welcome, Joe.
Hello, hello. Yes, I have gone from grinning ear to ear to anxiety, worrying about if Freddie Freeman's going to resign with the team. It's all gone the hot stove.
So did seeing Trump do the tomahawk chop almost made you want to cheer for the other team? No comment.
Yes.
Really just tomahawk?
No comment.
Yep. Okay, so also on the call is the man, when you look up swole in Urban Dictionary, you see his pick. Talking about Alfred. Welcome.
Well, that's because I had a few crystals tonight. So, yeah. It's one of those nights, basically. I worked late. I didn't go to the gym today. I guess I'll pick it back up tomorrow. So.
And last, but certainly not least, is the man who can finally, because it's winter, bring out those swim trunks. The man from Arizona, AZ Rockslide. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, yeah, it's kind of funny. There's a saying for this time of year that's around Phoenix. It's like, winter starts at 5 a.m., spring at 10, summer at 3 p.m., and fall at 6 p.m. Dress appropriately.
All right, so we got a full show ahead of us. We're going to be talking about games that you can play on the various platforms for. They're basically free if you subscribe to their services, and so we're going to dive into games that you simply must go out and play. But before that, we have some housekeeping. So we want to hear from you guys out there, you all out there. So if you have a question or comment, or perhaps something or a topic you want us to discuss, you can hit us up in a few ways. One of which is reach out via Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @GHRadioPod. You can also seek us out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/GHRadioPod. Or if you want to do traditional email, that is ghradiopod@gmail.com. One more way in which you can connect with us, and we heartedly recommend it, is to join our Discord, because you will not only hear from us, but you will hear from our community as well. You can join the GH Radio Discord at tinyurl.com/GH Radio Podcast. All right, that said, we hope to see you join us there. Let's dive into it, guys. So we have, and I'm probably going to forget some. So on Nintendo, we have Nintendo Online, and what do they call it? Nintendo Online Plus? Is that the new one?
Expansion Pass.
Expansion Pass, the $60 one.
Or expansion pack, I think. It's supposed to play off the expansion pack you used to plug into the Nintendo 64.
Okay. And then over on PlayStation, you have PlayStation Now, or PS Now. And then on the Xbox, you have Xbox Games Pass. And then there's, a few games that you don't need any subscription to enjoy, like, Fortnite, which is pretty much available for free on any technological device. I'm surprised it's not on a Samsung smart enabled refrigerator yet. Give it time. So we're going to dive in, and we're going to let's talk. I sort of want to go platform by platform, and because most of us are familiar with or talk Xbox, we're going to save that one for last. But that doesn't mean that it's the best, because as Joe's about to demonstrate now, he's going to show us like there are some killer, just absolutely like knock 'em out of the park games you can play as part of your PS Now subscription, and he's going to give us some of the lists that you need to go, if you are a member, go out and play it if you haven't played it yet. Take it away, Joe.
Well, I think a lot of people don't necessarily think of PlayStation Now as much as the other services, and there's quite a bit of games on the service as far as just the breadth of different games on there, and it just depends if you have a good enough internet connection, because obviously some of the games are stream only. All the PlayStation 3 games that are in the back catalog are basically just like Xbox and their cloud service, Google with Stadia. It's using Sony's proprietary cloud service, Gaikai, when they purchased it way back when on there, and basically you are streaming the game from a PS3 in the cloud on that.
Yeah, they kind of have to do that because the cell architecture is just so radically different from anything that they've done on past there, that they still have not found a really good way to emulate the PS3 on the later systems.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great work right now being done on the PC space as far as emulation, but that's not being brought forth for any sort of backwards compatibility.
And let's just say it's not being done by Sony, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's correct. So
Joe, what are some of those games that if I go and sign up on PS Now, or if someone listening to us goes signs up for PS Now, that they should dive in first and foremost?
Well, okay, there's a lot of games available, and so if you are a new PlayStation owner and you have not delved into PlayStation whatsoever, you got a lot of stuff to dig into. You got a lot of back catalog stuff, of course. You have both Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2. I also would recommend checking out all the God of War games, and all the God of War games are available either through PS3 streaming or direct download. And one thing I'm going to make a distinction on here is that all the PlayStation 4 games that are on the service can be either streamed or downloaded. So it's just like other services like Games Pass, where you have an option with PlayStation Now to either stream or download if it is a PS4 title. So
you mentioned all the God of War series. Does that include the most recent one?
That includes the most recent one. That's correct. Yeah.
Fantastic game.
Yeah. Detroit Become Human, which Alfred could attest to. They have the entirety of the Darksiders series, and it's all downloadable. So you're talking about Darksiders 1, 2, and 3, and also Genesis. Another like unheralded gem would be for me Gravity Rush 1 and 2. These are originally like the first game was on Vita and the second game came out for PS2, but they're both downloadable. The entirety of the Infamous series is available on PlayStation Now as well. Killzone, which is a great first-person shooter. First three games obviously are PS3 streaming, and then obviously the Shadows Fall, which people can get divisive about.
I thought the Vita Killzone game was much better than Shadows Fall.
Interesting.
Yeah. And one thing, for PS5 owners, if you thought Killzone Shadow Fall was kind of iffy, it does run a lot better on the PlayStation 5 and back compat mode. So
the game also was extremely important because while there were some issues and they were trying new things in that game, it's what allowed they were trying things in that game that would become very important in their next one, which for those Guerrilla was Horizon Zero Dawn, which still sits up there, if not the best, as in my opinion, one of the best open world RPG style games I have ever played.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I kind of wish they would go back to it. I'm assuming or I'm hoping that they have another team that could go back to Killzone, because I think they're kind of leaving an IP that is kind of lying dormant a little bit.
Mhm.
That was very important last generation.
Yeah.
On here. Neo 1 and 2 is also on the service, which basically is a comparable Dark Souls type game with a little ninja sprinkled in. Of course, this is Team Ninja's homage to Dark Souls on there. So imagine combining Ninja Gaiden and Dark Souls into a mix in there. The entirety of the Uncharted series is available as well.
Oh, cool.
All of Ratchet and Clank series is available either between the Ratchet and Clank PS3 collection of the prior PS2 games, and also of course all the PS3 Ratchet and Clank titles, and of course the Ratchet and Clank reboot game that came out with the launch of the movie. And then one of my personal favorites, Titan Quest, a game I've been kind of still playing through to this day, is an unheralded gem in my opinion.
Oh, cool.
On there. And they do have a few big tentpole titles. Some of their bigger titles, they will cycle out after a certain time. I know Red Dead Redemption just left the service. They added Mafia Definitive Edition, which is going to be on there till the end of February. I know Grand Theft Auto 3 Remastered's coming next month as well to PS Now. So it's part of the GTA Trilogy Remastered collection that's being part of this service. So there's plenty to sign up for. And the thing about it is it's normally $60 a year. And so if you don't have a lot of back catalog titles, if you don't coming into the PlayStation platform new, this would be a good way to start, especially if you're buying a PS5 right off the bat. I think Alfred could probably chime in and attest that there is a nice PlayStation Plus collection if you do decide to sign up for PlayStation Plus, which is another service that you basically get to access online games. But from there, if you sign up for PlayStation Plus, you do get a good 3 to 4 games a month. Like this month, there's 6 games. So it just depends on what's offered on the service. So
well, and while we'll talk, oh, sorry, go ahead, Alfred.
So Joe, they don't have like a PS Plus, PS Now combined. You're...
Yeah, I wish.
Okay.
I have not seen it, no, but I subscribe to PS Now. I found an online card basically on sale on one of these key reseller websites, for around $36 for a year, and that's why I decided to sign up for it, irregardless, because I felt it was for $36 divided by 12. I mean, pretty much that's really next to nothing. So it's so definitely Thanksgiving is the time to look for deals on all these subscription services, including PlayStation Now, PlayStation Plus, and of course we'll talk about Games Pass, Nintendo Online, and the Nintendo Online whatever the acronym is for the recharge expansion pass.
Just to tell in what Joe was saying real quick, I did get the I got my PS Plus PlayStation Plus deal on a deal. I actually just got it through my PS5 through Sony through the PlayStation Store. I think I don't think it was like CD keys or something like that. I think I just got it through the store. They just had it on sale for I think $36, and and it came with the PS. Is it called the PS Now collection, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the PS Plus collection, because PS Now is their streaming service, so.
I get the names mixed up. It's like the pronouns and stuff. But that PS Plus collection is really good. My son, it's funny. My son, we were watching we were watching the trailer to Uncharted with Tom
Holland.
Oh, thank you. And so he wanted to start playing Uncharted. So of course I had with the PS Plus collection, I think I had Uncharted 4, and I think they gave away Uncharted 3 previously. So he started playing Uncharted 4. He played it all weekend. He loved it. And so that was his first Uncharted game, and he wants to go back and play the other games. And nice. Of course, not Death Stranding, the motorcycle game, almost Days Gone. Days Gone, I think Days Gone is part of that collection. Eric, I'm sorry, one more thing. Days Gone and what was the robot game, Joe?
Detroit.
Detroit Become Human.
I love that game. I really do. I love that game. And so yeah, just some of the games, they're so unique that come with that whole collection. Like just the PlayStation first party is just, I mean, just stellar hits. And I still haven't got to God of War yet. I've been playing a good bit of Infamous Second Son. I really like that game too. So
Yeah, there's the PS Plus collection for PS5 owners. Once you buy the system, it's almost getting a reward because of the fact there's like I think 18 titles on here, but you dealing with like titles that have hundreds of hours of gameplay. Final Fantasy 15, Monster Hunter World, Persona 5, and then all the first party Sony titles, Ratchet and Clank, Last of Us Remastered, Last Guardian, God of War, Detroit Become Human,
Wow.
Bloodborne, so it's all there. So it's almost getting a nice little reward for buying a PlayStation 5.
Mhm.
And I can only imagine if someone decided to buy a PlayStation 5 out of the blue, where they haven't been gaming on the PlayStation platform for a while and playing all these games in back compat mode on PS5 is just like, I would say chef's kiss on this thing. So
Nice.
You're right. You're right, Joe. Or sorry, last name. Yeah, and that's really what happened to me because I was thinking you had told me about that collection, and then I hadn't played Uncharted. I played a little bit of Detroit Become Human, and of course I played Days Gone, but Infamous haven't played that. Bloodborne hadn't played that, and it's just like I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Because usually like you buy systems. I remember buying my Xbox 360 and it took all my money to buy that. I didn't even have a game. My first game I bought for the 360 was Gears of War, and that was like a month after I had the system. I was playing demos, pretty much a month and just kind of renting games. But like now, you get a new system and you just have, especially with the PlayStation 5, you just have access to all these like really like deep PlayStation 4 games. Especially like a lot of these are first party titles too. So I think all of them are. So Final Fantasy 15. But they're first party titles, and so it does give you like this very unique experience that I didn't have with any other system. Sorry, Eric. Sorry, thanks for letting me just get this out. Appreciate it.
That's all right.
Well, the show too, Alfred. So
yeah, of course. Well, let's move on to the other platform, Nintendo Switch. First and foremost, let me ask: do any of you guys have the Nintendo Online expansion pack?
It wasn't worth the full price for it for me.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
No, I mean we talked about this in chat, and I'm telling you, man, I was so close to getting it. I didn't know what it was. I just put on my Switch, and I was like, and I was looking, I was like, why are they trying to charge me? I already have the year, and I was reading about it. I'm like, oh, but then they had the killer. They have a killer app in there that I mean, it had me on the fence, man. I'm still close, but I just can't pull on it yet.
Well, it was tying it into the Animal Crossing content too. I'm like, oh.
Yes, too. But can you buy the Animal Crossing content separately, or do you have to buy it?
You can buy it separately.
Oh,
you
good.
can.
Good.
Okay.
So none of us can speak to what's available through the online expansion pack, but we can talk about what can be available on Nintendo Online. I'm going to jump in first real quickly and just say, so when you join Nintendo Online, you download a few apps. One is for Nintendo Online NES. One is for Nintendo Online SNES. And so I sort of divided up my list by either one. And so just talking NES, the ones that jumped out to me, because I have a confession, I'm not that much into Mario games. I know that makes me an awful person.
That's okay. Neither am I.
Okay. I've played,
also not
but I've
that
never
much
finished.
into Zelda games.
You're off the show. Sorry. No, I kid. No. So when it comes to NES, the things that jumped out to me that I loved and that is available for free if you're a Nintendo Online subscriber. The original Donkey Kong Jr. That had a special fondness for me. I know it's not the greatest port, but I absolutely loved that game in the arcade, and so that always holds a special place to me. Kid Icarus remains one of my favorites to ever appear on the NES. And even
You like
now,
being turned into an eggplant. Huh?
yeah, I mean, I absolutely love that game. And with Nintendo Online, you don't even have to like have these big long codes to save and all that. So it makes things a little bit easier. I would also recommend, of course, Legend of Zelda, the Adventures, whatever. Oh, what is the full title of that? The Adventures of Link. The Adventures of Link.
That's Legend of
Are
Zelda.
you talking
2.
about Zelda 2? Yeah, because Zelda 2 is
Oh.
kind
That's
of
Zelda
hard.
2.
No, what's the first one then?
The Legend of Zelda.
The Legend of
Correct.
Zelda. Okay, so I inputted my letters wrong there. Okay, so and also on the NES, obviously I would recommend Metroid.
So I
And-
really quickly,
Yeah.
I am a Metroid fan. I love the series.
Mhm.
I find it next to impossible to go back and play the first Metroid anymore. The best way to experience the first Metroid is through Metroid Zero Mission. Trying to go back and playing it on the NES,
Mhm.
I just cannot get into it.
That's interesting. Yeah. And you got the Fusion series, which I know there was highly
Fusion's great. The remake, while there are some issues with it, the remake of 2 was really good. I think though where the series really came into its own was Super Metroid, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Okay. And then rounding out my list of NES, like must go out and play. Ghosts and Goblins. I just have a
Do you
fondness
play
for that
Ghosts
game.
and Goblins, or do you suffer through Ghosts and
I
Goblins?
suffered through it, but for me, it was like one of the first coin-op games that I played, and so I always being able to then play it at home was super terrific for me. And now I can play it through Nintendo Online.
It's like
Very torture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it certainly is.
I have a
But
few others I
yeah.
would add to the NES list here.
Yeah, let's
Super
hear it.
Dodgeball.
Ooh, okay.
I love playing that back in the day with one of my good friends and we used to play against each other all the time, and it's great because you have different characters. You can throw different specialty balls and stuff like that. It's not just like you're throwing balls back and forth. You're throwing curves and you're throwing orbit balls that'll like go up in the air and then come in behind the opponent and stuff. It's just a lot of fun. Then Gradius, one of the original.
Yep.
Side-scrolling style shooters. Absolutely loved it. And then, of course, you're not going to get the version with Mike Tyson, but still, Punch Out.
Punch Out, yep.
That's it. Yeah, and you have the Super Punch Out on the Super NES one. That's
Yep.
also amazing.
Yep.
I'm glad you because I think when I got my Switch, I spent so much time playing a lot of the older games before I even got to like Switch games.
Yeah. I will say, this is a little off topic, but like one game that would be like game over for me if they ever put it on there is what was it? California games or California?
California games. Yep.
Yeah, that would be game over for me. I loved that game, but not
Yeah.
there yet. These are the games that we're talking about. Games that are there. Anyone have anything to add about NES before we move on to SNES?
There's some favorites on the list I'd like to mention at least.
Yeah,
At least
yeah,
some
go for it.
unheralded favorites. Crystallis is a really good Zelda-like game on there from SNK that I really enjoyed way back when. And so that's something where you might not have heard of this game previously, but I definitely recommend doing a playthrough. Rygar was one of the games I loved way back when.
Joe, I was going to say that.
Yeah, Rygar, for whatever reason, the arcade game, I always felt like it was kind of but Rygar NES, man, oh man, trying to fight my way up to the clouds, and it was just, and that music too was just like, that, yeah.
As soon as you hear it start, you're like, oh yes.
Put that in my veins, and then Blaster Master, of course, is just like great.
You stole my
Well, is there any leftover that we forgot to mention for NES, Alfred?
Consider the fact I didn't plan. I didn't actually look at this. Yeah, I was gonna say Punch Out. I was gonna say Rygar. Let's see. We said Zelda. You guys don't play Mario games, so
yeah.
They put the original Mario, the one with Donkey Kong, that's on there. Okay, yeah, I think Joe pretty much got them all. Or,
Cool.
Mario
Well,
3 is like the bomb, but you have to like to play Mario, of course. So.
Yeah, that's what's funny because I'm glad you mentioned that because I loved Mario 1. Mario 2 I thought was just too weird for me. I never really
You
beat
got to
it.
remember, Mario 2 technically was not a Mario game. It was kind of turned into one when it was brought to the U.S.
Was it?
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, let's talk. Also on Nintendo Online is the SNES stuff, and I have to admit, I have. I never had. Well, actually, I take that back. I barely had a Super Nintendo. Only for a short time, and so the only one that I remember playing was the Zelda game. But I'll also throw in there Super Mario Kart just because it's Mario Kart. So if anyone else wants to jump in with other SNES games.
So the funny thing is, I've played a lot of games on the Super Nintendo, just not a lot of the ones that they have available through this service.
Yeah.
Can I just name one before somebody takes it from me?
Yes, go for it.
Super Mario World.
That's one of the few Mario games I actually got into, so I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
It was mine too because that was the pack-in game, and I definitely played a ton of SNES back in the day. I mean, pretty much by then I was a functioning adult and we had money to buy games left and right. So at the time, it's just like there's a lot of great games on the list. F-Zero, of course, if you ever that was another launch game where Toys R Us. I picked up the SNES and got Mario World in the box, and I got picked up F-Zero and Pilot Wings. Nice. That was just like the greats. It was good times. I don't even know if Pilot Wings. Yeah, Pilot Wings is on the service.
On there. Yeah.
But
for me, the big one on the list is Super Metroid. Just like I said earlier, it was really where the Metroid series hit its stride, and it's really where you got the formula for what would be this game plus Castlevania Symphony of the Night is where you get the phrase Metroidvania. It's where you get the formula for these, where you get a new ability, so you backtrack to areas you've already been to get the stuff you couldn't get before then. The other thing that was really introduced in Super Metroid was sequence breaks. Tricks that if you knew what you were doing, you could get items ahead of when you would normally get them just through the standard progression.
Okay. Well, anyone else with SNES stuff?
Super Tennis.
Oh, Super Tennis. Oh, my God. I still play that to this day. In fact, me, my friend Dom, and Nick, we're like, after UFC, we're like sitting here, like, a couple drinks and us playing like Super Tennis head to head and going at it. I mean, like big time.
That's
so
awesome.
It's definitely on there. Other games on the list, I'm just going to mention the Super Mario All-Stars for your Mario fans out there. Has like all the Mario games in that one particular package on there. And then also Breath of Fire 1 and 2, some good RPG action. For you, Chris, if you've never played it, Super Ghouls and Ghosts on there. It's a really good one because, it's not as hard as Ghosts and Goblins. Or Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah, it's a little easier.
Okay.
And
then I'll have to check it out.
And Joe, I have one that you missed, and I'm so glad that you missed it. Makes me so happy that you did not say this. Joe and Mac. I know you played Joe and Mac, Joe. I know.
Oh, I played Joe and Mac. Yeah, I don't really have like a too big regard for it, but
really, I'll know.
I thought it was okay. I played it in the arcade back in the day when it was known as Caveman Ninja. But I enjoyed the Joe and Mac games. I played them on there, and for the people that enjoy them, Donkey Kong Country, the entire like 1, 2, and 3 are on there as well.
Yeah, let's say Donkey Kong Country 2. That was one. But Donkey Kong Country was such a, for me, I feel like it was such a huge commercial success. Like it was, because it was like one of the first games they used like the whole 3D engine and whatnot for a side scroller. It was just, it was just huge. It was just these amazing graphics, and just kind of revolutionary for that time.
And I just want to mention before we move on to the next platform, in addition with the Nintendo Online, it gives you the ability to play online 2 killer games that I was at first typical of, but both are so much fun. I'm talking about the both 99 games, the Pac-Man 99 and Tetris 99. So it's basically
do they still have the Mario 35 or whatever it is as well?
They took it off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's fun. That was, yeah, I remember playing. I was playing that too. That's fun. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry
and so
to
basically
interrupt
you're basically playing Pac-Man and Tetris against other people, or if you have the Nintendo Online, you can play against bots. But it's a lot of fun. And at first, like I said, I was dubious, but I became hooked. So much that I bought additional content for Tetris 99 so that I could play it on a plane trip a few years ago. So.
I remember looking at Tetris 99 and first going, how in the world are they bringing Battle Royale to Tetris? And then playing it and going, oh, that's how. And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. All right. So, go ahead.
I think there's one Nintendo game that we forgot about that. Yeah. And Joe and Eric would tell me if this is on. I think this is on there, though. Bad Dudes.
That would be on the NES. I don't think it's on there, though.
Oh,
no,
because that's part of Capcom's beat 'em ups. You usually have to buy the Capcom beat 'em up collections to get those.
Yeah, no,
they have the Tato one. They have the beat 'em up. They have the Tato beat 'em up on the NES.
Okay.
What's the one? I can't remember the name of it.
I know. I just don't know any games on that list. Oh yeah, they got the original baseball on that list. I haven't played that yet.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our. Actually, Eric, you had one. Before we move on to Xbox Games Pass, let's talk really quickly about just free-to-play stuff.
Yeah, so there's a lot of free-to-play stuff on PC, and some of it's not just on PC. In fact, both of the ones I'm going to be bringing up here. Now I'm like spacing on. Oh, there's three I want to mention.
Okay.
And all three of them, I believe, are available on multi-platforms. Some of them on all of the platforms. Yeah. I can't believe I'm spacing on one of them right now. Come on, the Space Ninja game.
Space
Warframe.
Ninja?
Warframe. Thank you. Okay, so if you want, I do want to bring up, and all of these are available on multiple platforms. In fact, Warframe and Paladins are available on all platforms right now, including the Switch.
Nice.
I'll start with them. So Warframe was one of those games that came out when the Xbox One first launched, and Xbox One and PS4. And when people were first playing it, it was like, oh, this is interesting, but it's not that great. Well, Digital Eclipse, the team behind it, has put so much time and effort into that game, and it is a really fun game to play now. And it's really, I said Space Ninja, because really that's what it feels like you are. The verticality and movement in this game is like no other. There's just so much fun to play in it. So I would really heavily recommend giving that one a try.
Interesting. All right. And you said you had two more?
Yeah. So Paladins. So Paladins is a hero shooter. It's similar in ways to Overwatch. Now, I'm going to say similar because it's not exactly the same. One of the things that sets Paladins apart is that you have all your various heroes, but you get cards that you use to set your characters up the way you want. So you can actually increase or decrease the certain abilities that they have and cooldowns and stuff like that, so that my version of a character might not play the same way your version does. And then they brought in a little bit of the MOBA kind of feel in that as you're playing the game, you earn credits. You can buy different upgrades to your character. So if they've got two healers, you can buy a cauterize, which keeps them from being able to heal as well. Or if they've got a lot of people with shields, you can buy Wrecker, which allows you to take shields down faster. So you can really kind of tailor to the enemy and who they're using to help you win. So I really enjoy that game. And then the last one is Path of Exile. So this is a game that has a pretty severe learning curve. But if you are into the Diablo style ARPGs, this is definitely a game you'd want to play. I would heavily recommend, when you first start playing, going online. There's all sorts of places, and anybody who's interested, I can guide them this way. There's all sorts of places where you can get different builds for the characters that people have done that will translate really well. That'll help newcomers with, okay, well here, because the big thing is people take one look at the skill tree and their eyes start going cross-eyed because it's massive. but it is definitely, and what sets this one so far apart, the class kind of determines who you can be, but any class can use any ability because it's the gems you equip in the items you have that determine what abilities you have. It's not something that's inborn to your class. So it's an interesting take on all of that, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to Xbox, the Xbox platform. Now, if you subscribe to Xbox Games Pass, it gives you access also to EA access. And I want to make clear right now that you can also, some of these games that we describe that are from EA, if you purchase EA access on PlayStation, you'll have access to those there as well. So I just wanted to make sure folks know that some of the games we're describing here, if they're EA access, you can also play it on your PlayStation. All right. So with that said, Xbox Games Pass, Joe, why don't you lead off with like must play games on Games Pass?
At least for me, what I've been playing on the service, Dragon Quest XI is a great JRPG, turn-based RPG, and it's something that I think everyone should play on there. The entirety of the Yakuza series is also on Games Pass, and I definitely think it is worth your time and energy to at least try the series out. Try Yakuza 0 and kind of go from there. Also, because of the EA access, all the entirety of the Dirt series is also available, and I think Dirt 5 especially is something that should be looked at and played a little bit more, because it brings back those good arcade racing type games on there. I know the prior Dirt games, sometimes depending on the iteration, could be a little bit more simmy or towards playing like a rally game, but I think Dirt 5 was from the same team that did Onrush. And if you look at the Onrush team basically came from the skeleton of the team that did MotorStorm series for Sony that they basically broke up.
That's a fun series
on there. Yeah. So definitely, I think Dirt 5 is definitely worth gander. Of course, all the Wolfenstein games are in there because of Bethesda, and I think all of those need to run a playthrough. And another game I haven't checked out yet, but I have it in my queue, is this game called Phoenix Point. And basically it's from the original creator of the original XCOM, and it's like kind of his take on modern XCOM, like 2K's and Firaxis version of XCOM, but in his take on that formula. So if you enjoyed XCOM, I definitely would recommend downloading and checking out Phoenix Point. I haven't played it yet, but I'll definitely talk.
I've heard pretty good stuff about it.
Yeah,
and of course there's one game that's near and dear to your heart that you've been playing like a lot.
Oh, yeah, but that game is not necessarily exclusive for Games Pass. It's available for everyone, because referencing like what you guys were talking about earlier with the free-to-play games. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis is the game that I've been playing a lot of, and I've actually gone back to. And, it's still in its kind of framework right now, so there's not a lot of single-player content, but I like the gameplay loop. And it's something I play online with Desmond, and I would love if others would check out the game as well. But I know it's still kind of in its kind of formulative stage, and they're still working on building content for the game. So that's one thing if you do decide to play it now. And then, of course, the original Phantasy Star Online 2, which languished in Japan for 7 years until Microsoft came and basically held out their hand and their wallet and helped Sega get this game out in the West with a proper English translation, of course. So, and so that's definitely another game that's available on Xbox, free to play for everyone, available on Steam and also on Windows Store. So,
okay, cool. All right, Alfred, I know that you are chomping at the bit that's a racing term, to tell us about what games people absolutely must play on Games Pass. So go for it.
Okay, so I would start off with the whole Bethesda suite. Not to play all of them, but Skyrim is one of my favorite. I realized that these are personal favorites of mine. So like, if you don't already play Bethesda's games, then hey, like at this point you know what you're getting. They also have Final Fantasy games on Game Pass, which are about to leave. If they still have Final Fantasy 15 on there, that is a must play. I really love that game. There's so many. Batman Arkham Asylum. I'm sorry, Batman Arkham Knight. Hopefully, that's it. Is my thing in the background beeping?
Yep. I think your coffee's ready. No, so what else on Games Pass?
I don't know, Chris. I feel like I'm on the spot. There's so many games.
Well, I could always throw it to Eric.
Throw it to Eric.
Okay, Eric, what do you think about Games Pass games people absolutely need to go play?
So I would list several. One I'm going to throw out. The first one I'm going to throw out there is actually Fable 2. And part of the reason I'm going to bring this up, not only do I think it's by far the best of the Fable games, but if you didn't have an Xbox 360 and you have the ultimate version of Game Pass, you can play Fable 2 on PC through the cloud gaming. And that's the only one that they never released on PC. So I know there's a lot of people who missed it, and it's definitely one you should go back and play.
Nice.
Then some others.
Yeah, I purposely left it off my list because I knew you would put it in there.
Yeah. Some others on there, Outriders. So I haven't played this in a while. They just announced that they're about to be making some pretty major changes to it.
Oh, really?
And there's a guy I follow on YouTube who's played a lot of Outriders and that. And he was saying that while he couldn't say what it was, he and a few other people had been invited to test some of the new changes. And he's like, this is going to bring people back to the game. So I think that's because I know that we all enjoyed it when we played it, but they were just it was lacking some things and had some major issues. So it'll be good to see what happens when that occurs.
Can I tell in on this, Eric? I'm one of the people that love the Outriders, and I actually just recently took it off my Xbox just to make some space a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't have any of the problems that probably most people are having. Like the progression system worked really good. The only downside to that game is just it didn't really have a good narrative. Like at least with Destiny. Okay, at least I'm not crazy, but like at least with Destiny, like you're in space, so you have like the whole space setting, and it's very Battlestar, Galactica, Star Wars is to me in a sense. This just the whole like space civilization type thing, and Outriders is like you're in this. Like you're looking for a new world and you find this new world and everything just kind of goes crazy, and it's just basically factions that are just trying to survive. So it's like I kind of feel sorry for everybody I'm shooting because we're all in the same like shitstorm. So, but it looks good. It's fun. And it might be off Game Pass now. If it is, I'm actually going to buy.
No, Outriders is still on Game Pass.
It's still Game Pass. Okay.
That's why I brought it up.
And I'm probably going to buy just a real game. Okay. Thank you, Eric. Go back to you.
No problem.
Well, Outriders is cheap now, so I mean, I've seen it for $20, $15 or less. So if you want to buy it to keep it, I mean, right then and there, that's something.
Yep. And don't forget, like if it's on sale on Xbox or cheap on Xbox, and you have Game Pass, you get a discount on top of that.
Yeah, and it's funny you guys say it because like there's been this whole idea, and now we're kind of seeing it come to fruition now since there are actually really good games coming to first party games coming to Game Pass, is that Game Pass cannibalizes sales, and what we're seeing like with Forza, because Forza sold roughly close to 1 million copies that we know of the week before it actually released on Game Pass. So it kind of shows that if people really want a game, they'll still buy it. And I'm kind of and I think that way too, because like even games that I like, I'm going to buy that game because it's going to be something that I'm going to want to play when it leaves Game Pass. And Outriders is that game. And if it doesn't leave, I'm at least just going to own the game regardless. But I still buy games, and Game Pass has just been a good way to test them. But a game that I already had on Game Pass that I actually quite enjoy is Avengers. I know it's kind of got lambasted in the public just because of the way that it was. They wanted to make it a online service game, and it's just kind of a hard thing to do for Crystal Dynamics because they never made those type of games before. But it is fun if you play it just to play with Avengers and have powers and kick some butt. you do get to do that. That's on Game Pass.
Cool. Eric, anything else?
Yeah, so BattleTech. Now, I'm not talking Mech Warrior. They're two different games. BattleTech was done by Harebrained Studios. It's a very much turn-based, feels like taking the old BattleTech game and putting it into a computerized version. It's really, really good, and it's on there. Control, of course, is excellent. Slay the Spire. I have spent a ton of time playing that game.
Me too.
That's a great one. Dead Cells. Middle-earth Shadow of War is on there. And I know that it had some problems when it first came out with kind of the pay-to-win mechanics. They've removed a lot of that out of it, and it is still a very fun game to play.
Also, Hades is on there, too. It just kind of reminded me.
I'm leaving that one because Chris has it on his list.
You stole mine, Alfred. You stole it. All right.
Sea of Thieves is a lot of fun to play now. I mean, it was always the kind of game where you could kind of make your own fun, but they have added so much content to that game. And even on your own, you can find things to do now.
Yeah, I keep meaning to go back to that game, but then I look at the file size, like, oh, I got to remove stuff.
But that's where you can play it on cloud. You can play it. That's one of the nice things about having the cloud version now is you don't have to install it. And
very true.
The Outer World, which was a great sci-fi RPG done by Obsidian, who, for those who don't know, they do great RPGs, including of Fallout New Vegas. It is really, really good. And the last one I'm going to mention is Prey, which is one of the Bethesda. It's by Arcane Studios. And this is a game that a lot of people didn't play because it wasn't Prey 2. So people were just upset. It's like, oh, well, this isn't that game, so I'm not going to play it. Don't sleep on this game. If you like horror games set in space, this is one to play.
Okay. Joe, what about you?
I already went, but
you're right.
That's okay. But I actually forgot about Crackdown 3. I know very much that people derive that very divisive as far as, like, oh my God, it's Crackdown 3 from what they shown back in the day. But I found the game to be like super fun, and it's something I should definitely mention on there. So, and then of course, if you like Minecraft, Dragon Quest Monsters 2 is one that's kind of heavily regarded.
Dragon Quest Builders 2?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Dragon Quest Monsters is another Pokemon side project game. Thank you. On there, but yeah, definitely would have that.
Well, I have obviously a few to mention that people must go out and play. I think for if you're just starting out with Games Pass, and particularly since Infinite's on its way, you should definitely check out Halo Master Chief Collection, not only because it'll give you like a ton of achievements, but it gives you all the really Halo core games to play, and so you're going to have a ton of content there. So I definitely recommend that.
The recommendation's also being made, by the way, that if you really want to learn about the Forsaken and that you play Halo Wars 2.
If you have kids, Minecraft, you can't go wrong with Minecraft. It's simply amazing what people are doing with that game. My personal favorite as of late, you've heard me talk about it on the show, is Boyfriend Dungeon. So much fun. It's that sort of dungeon crawler, but also you're romancing people all over the place. But a huge one for us in particular is Destiny 2. Destiny 2, part of Games Pass. So you can check that out there as well.
Dishonored. And yes, Destiny 2 is free to play now. The difference is that Destiny 2 Game Pass, you get Beyond Light, you get Forsaken, though they're about ready to shutter Forsaken. But you get all the Beyond Light content without having to pay anything else, anything extra. So
nice. Dishonored is one of my favorite Bethesda series, and so definitely recommend that game there. Another one I have not played personally, but so many of my Xbox MVP friends, particularly ones who have had, I have one of my Xbox MVPs is a doc. Actually earned her degree, is a doctor, and is doing mental health and gaming, and she highly recommended Hellblade because of the way it deals with mental health, and it was suggested that it was suggested that you play that with headphones because the sound is amazing. What they do with the sound,
you absolutely have to play this one with headphones. You will miss out if you don't play it with headphones.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I haven't played it yet because scary games and me don't mix usually, but that component, the mental health component, is definitely interesting. So check that out. And Alfred already mentioned Hades and also mentioned Skyrim. That Bethesda stuff is huge for Games Pass, and you get to play it for free.
I literally was just telling my wife this yesterday. I was playing. I've been playing Fallout 76, and I was just like, I just love Bethesda games. I do. Oh my gosh! I was in Bethesda, Maryland, like a few years ago, and I knew which street Bethesda Software Studios was on.
Oh, nice.
My brother was like, I really just want to go by there. He was like, dude, no, we're not going by Bethesda Software.
So as I mentioned, EA Access is a part of Games Pass, and I'll just quickly mention a couple of series. Mass Effects 1 through 3. This isn't the new one that came out, but these are the original ones, versions of it. So my favorite RPG is Mass Effect. So you can check those out. And the other one I would recommend is a racing game that I played so much of. Burnout Paradise, just incredible game. Eric, I noticed that you had a few EA Play games to mention. Why don't you go for it?
Yeah, I'll mention a couple Star Wars games. Star Wars Battlefront 2. I know it got a really bad rap when it first came out because of all the stuff but they've removed all of that. They've added so much to it. It's a lot of fun to play now. So it's definitely one I'd recommend. And then Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was really, really good.
Yes, it was. I keep hoping we'll get an announcement on a follow-up. So there's a lot of stuff out there, folks, for you guys to experience. If you're getting a brand new system and you want to sign up for one of these services, those are our recommendations. Explore them. Maybe you'll find something that we haven't mentioned that will be your killer game. So go check that out, especially as we come to the holidays here. All right, this brings us to What You Doing, which we're going to do very short, guys, and I'll lead off as an example because we're running long on time. So for me, it's pretty much been Hades until Forza 5 came out, and now it's been Forza 5, which has been amazing. I'm sure some of you guys have also played it or dove into it as well. Alfred, have you played Forza 5?
No, Chris, I've not.
Oh, that surprises me.
Of course I have. What do you think?
Oh, okay. I technically I should say Forza Horizons 5, but
I was totally joking, man. Have you not been reading my Twitter? I've been like a Forza 5 fanboy.
Yeah. And other than that, I'm going through some personal crisis, so I've just when I get time, I watch movies, and so I've been watching the Spider-Man movies in preparation for the film, and I've been going back and watching the Daniel Craig Bond films. I still haven't seen the new one, so that is me. Eric, why don't you go?
All right, so I got a few things. As far as what I'm watching, the main thing is I'm still watching Leverage Redemption, and still enjoying that. It still feels like old Leverage, but updated. And then I did watch. I had started watching it Halloween night with my brother-in-law, and so came home and finished it off. Watched Odd Thomas. That's an interesting one. It's on Hulu, and it's definitely, if you like kind of quirky, was it on Hulu or was it Peacock? It's one of the two. Anyway, if you like kind of quirky, not really horror, but a little bit horror-like elements, but probably leaning more toward the comedic side of that, it's definitely one worth checking out.
Okay.
It's pretty good. And then as far as gaming goes, so I played some Generation Zero for the stream for Good for Gaming. Really enjoyed getting back into that game. I'll probably be playing more of it. It's just, I forgot how fun that game really is. And then during the technical beta last week and part of this week, I got a chance to try out Lost Ark. So I bought into this. This is going to be, it's going to be free to play when it comes. It's been out in like China and Russia for quite a while. It's just being brought to the US by Amazon. and it's going to be completely free to play. But I wanted to get into it, and you could get in for like $15 to make sure you got part of the beta, and you'll get some stuff when the game comes out. So I thought I'd go ahead and do it. It's a lot of fun. It's the best way to describe it is if you took like Black Desert Online, but then made it isometric. So it's more of a Diablo style dungeon crawler, but the combat feels much more third person MMORPG based. Very much you have to pay a lot more attention to the combat. You're not just spamming buttons like you do say in Diablo. So I'm really liking what I've played so far of that.
Cool.
But then what's been just eating my time up, especially the last few days, is Metroid Dread. I'm closing in on Endgame and just absolutely love this game.
Nice.
It is, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, it was like Nintendo said, okay, here. And granted, it was Mercury Steam who actually did it. Mercury Steam, excuse me. But it was like they said, okay, here is how you do a Metroid game in 2021. And it is just incredible.
Cool.
Are you playing handheld mode or are you playing docked mode?
Honestly, mostly handheld.
Okay.
All right. Well, Alfred, what are you doing?
This will be very quick. Forza Horizon 5. Man, I wish we don't have time to really get into it this week because I really want to talk about it, but I guess we could talk about it more next week.
Well, it gives others a chance to try it out, and we can talk deeper about it on next episode.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm having a very, very good time with the game, and I think a lot of it's right time, right. I mean, it's a great game, but it kind of came out at the right time too. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII, the remake that came out for PS4 in 2020, and I got pretty far into it before I got my PS5. But now, I'm playing on PS5 with the PS5 update, and that game just is gorgeous. It just, oh my goodness.
Nice.
So I've been playing a lot of that, and I think I'm gonna play this until I finish it. I'm gonna probably stick with this and kind of go back between this and Forza 5. Of course, still play. I still play Animal Crossing. Like everybody knows on Sundays in my house is, we all. Dad has to get up to buy turnips on Sunday.
Yep.
So, but that's kind of like been my rotation for games, and it's just such a good time to be a gamer. I must say.
Yeah. So that leaves you, Joe. What you been doing?
Obviously, I finished watching the World Series, and I had a little
Congrats.
hangover because I said, no more baseball. What's going on? And I don't know what I'm going to do with my time, but been playing the usuals, Titan Quest, in the middle of the Immortal Throne DLC, playing that with Desmond on there. Went back to PSO2 New Genesis because they have a new character class they introduced a couple weeks ago. They have a new character class coming out in December. Also, because a listener on Gaming Vessels bought a PS5 and bought a couple of new games. John BT, he purchased Risk of Rain 1 and 2, and so I told Desmond we need to get back into Risk of Rain 2. El Pronto
Risk of Rain
Tonto.
2 is so good.
Yes, and it's first time I've played it in months. First time I played it since the 1.0 update, and took a minute for me to get my bearings. I forgot I opened up like 5 different forums as far as different
different survivors.
Different survivors to play with. Yeah, on there. Trader Joe hot tip: if you have a Five Below in your area, Risk of Rain 1 and 2 for PS4 is a hot $5 to go pick it up at your leisure. Yes.
I need to do that because I actually owe a copy of it to somebody on PS4. So
yeah, it is $5. They also have Borderlands 3 for $5 as well. So definitely Five Below is a place you could pick up games, maybe $5 or less. So definitely take a look at that. Trader Joe tip ends right here. Also been playing Forza Horizon 5. I got through the intro, created my Drivatar, and I am ready to rock and roll through Mexico with my jabroni license plate. So
was it surprising when did they call you by your first name?
I selected a nickname. I selected Chief because there was one of the unfortunately, they have jabroni out of the list.
Yeah. Jabroni Chief. Your new alias.
My new alias, yes. So once, but yeah, that's pretty much all my gaming.
Cool. All right, so that brings us to the end of the show. I just want to remind folks, come and join our Discord. It's tinyurl.com/GH Radio Podcast. We want to hear from you, what you've been playing, what you've been watching, and maybe organize some game nights. Come hang out on Discord. Other places you can reach us: Twitter @GHRadioPod, email ghradiopod@gmail.com, and facebook.com/GHRadioPod. All right, this has been episode 672 of GH Radio, and I remain Lefty Brown.
I am Trader Joe.
And I am GH Radio Maverick.
I am AZ Rockslide.
And we will talk to you all next time.
Peace.